Hey guys, and welcome back. Today's video is not going to be very long given the fact that there's not a whole lot of games to choose from. If you're looking for more content beyond just what we have in this video, you can head on over to stumpthespread.com, and if you're on desktop, you can just click this icon right here and it will send you right over there. And if not, I'll also link Stump the Spread in the description. We have daily free picks over there as well as premium content that you can access, and not just in college basketball, but college football, NFL, NBA, and NHL are all the major sports that are in season right now. Alright guys, so in today's video I'm going to be covering about 5 to 6 matchups that I think might have some of the better value bet in college basketball today. The first one here that I'm going to start with is going to be Davidson versus College of Charleston. Davidson's gotten off to a really strong start so far this year, and this is a Wildcats group that's looking to build up a non-conference resume that's good enough to hopefully make the NCAA tournament as an at-large bid for them. This is a Davidson squad that's probably going to be competing right near the top of the A10 this season. And interestingly, Davidson's offense hasn't been putting up quite as many points as you'd typically expect out of this crew that they have, but Davidson has shown really stark improvement on the defensive side of the ball this year, which has really made this a more complete team. And also from watching some of Davidson's games this year, it looks like that once they're able to build a lead, they don't mind kind of milking the clock a little bit more than maybe we've seen from them in recent years. And that's just allowed this team to really find a lot of success, at least early on in the season. It's going to be interesting to see if this is something that Davidson continues to deploy, maybe having more around the 100th offense in the nation and maybe around the 100th defense instead of having a top 10 offense and a 300 something defense. So it's going to be interesting to see that out of Davidson this year. And then College of Charleston, one of the preseason favorites to win the CAA, but based on what we've been seeing out of this group so far this year, we have a hard time believing that unless this group's able to really starkly improve on the offensive side of the ball. College of Charleston currently ranks as one of the worst offensive teams in college basketball. They've really slowed down the pace of play in all of their games and have tried to lean more on their defense to find success, but in some of their tougher matchups this year, Charleston has had a really tough time keeping pace on the offensive end, and we think that that's probably going to be the case again today. So Davidson giving the points here, we feel like is the better bet against the spread in this particular matchup. Next game we want to talk about is Marquette against Georgia. Really looking forward to watching this particular matchup. Both of these teams are hoping to make the NCAA tournament this year, but both, they have, at least at this point, had some nice results this year, but a little bit inconsistent for both of these squads. Both teams are looking to rack up some RPI building wins in the non-conference, and they'll both get a shot today to do just that. We like what we've been seeing out of this Marquette offense so far this season. This is a pretty veteran roster. Even though they lost their best player this past offseason, Henry Elon, going on to the NBA, this is still a group that returns a lot of veteran talent. And, Marquette's really shown a lot of improvement on the offensive side of the ball. And when this squad is playing up to their ceiling, they're pretty lethal, especially on the offensive end. And then you have Georgia, who has some elite players with, a guy like Mayton leading the team over there, averaging over 20 points per game. But this is a Georgia team that doesn't mind playing at a little bit slower pace than Marquette, leaning on their defense a little bit more than the Golden Eagles typically do. If Marquette's able to get this, the pace kind of going up-tempo in this one, they'll definitely have the advantage over this Georgia squad. Georgia has a little bit more bulk down in the post in this matchup, but Marquette has more offensive weapons that they bring to the table. We do think that the Golden Eagles are going to compete heavily for this upset, and getting them with the points feels like the better bet in this particular matchup. Bowling Green against Cincinnati. So Cincinnati picking up that huge resume-boosting win on the road against Iowa State in their last outing, and what was really particularly impressive in that matchup was the fact that Cincinnati was able to dictate the pace of play in a very tough road environment, and that's just a testament to the coaching over at Cincinnati, and as well as their veteran players that they have to kind of lead this group when they're in tougher environments. This is a Bowling Green squad that had a little bit of a tough time this year, especially on the road. Had some challenges there. Bowling Green's picked to finish more in the bottom tier of the MAC, but the MAC seems fairly balanced this season, and really anything could happen over there. So it's going to be interesting to see how things end up shaking for the Falcons once they reach conference play. But Bowling Green's definitely outmatched in this one. Cincinnati coming off that big win. Could be typically a trap game coming off a big emotional win, but against such a manageable opponent, I don't think that's going to be much of an issue here for the Bearcats. We do like them to lean on their elite defense, which ranks in the top 10 in college basketball, as they go on to kind of outpace the Falcons here as they go on to win and cover this large spread. Moving on to Elon against Georgetown. We really like what we've been seeing out of Elon so far this year, especially on the offensive side of the ball. This group has really been putting up a ton of points, even though defensively the Phoenix have some things to work on. But if they're able to get their offense going like we've been seeing it so far this year in this particular matchup, they'll have a chance to upset Georgetown, because this is a Hoyas team that's really been inconsistent with their results this season, and even at home picking up some home defeats early on anyways. Like in particular, their home loss against Arkansas State was a pretty bad black eye for this squad in a game that Georgetown was huge favorites. I think they were somewhere around like 20-point favorites in that particular matchup, and they went on to lose that one on their home court. So Georgetown really inconsistent with their results this season. In their last outing, at least, Georgetown was able to blow out their competition, really taking it to Coppin State, but Elon's on a different level than Coppin State is, and we do think that Elon will be able to keep things respectable in this one, and getting the 8.5 points, the Phoenix feel like the better value bet in this one. One game that I wish there was a spread out for, but unfortunately currently there's not, is this Washington State against George Washington matchup. This spread will probably come out more around maybe 10 in the morning or something, and the reason that it hasn't been released right now is because one of George Washington's best players, his status is unknown for this one, but we're not very high on this George Washington squad this season, and we feel like Vegas is overvaluing this group a little bit based on the results they've been showing in recent seasons. But we really like this Florida State group. They're loaded with talent. They bring back some veteran pieces that were key to last year, and they also bring in a really intriguing group of underclassmen. We like what we've been seeing out of Florida State so far this season, and if I had to guess on this spread, I would say Florida State's probably going to be coming into this one as maybe about a 6-point favorite, maybe 7, kind of in that range. If we get a spread in the 5 to 8 point range here, I would definitely take the Seminoles giving the points. But if it's reaching more upwards of double digits, which I don't think it would be, but if it was, then I would probably stay away from it. But I do really like Florida State coming into this one to get the job done if the spread is at a reasonable number. And then I just have one more game that I want to talk about, and that's going to be Canisius against Monmouth. Canisius is heading into their 3rd straight road game, and fatigue has to, play a factor at least somewhat for the Golden Griffins in this one. Whenever you play a bunch of road games in a row, it can really have a wearing effect on a squad. So little concerning for Golden Griffin backers in this one. And then you have Monmouth, the clear-cut favorites to win the MAAC this year. Monmouth returns a healthy portion of last year's scoring from a team that probably should have made the NCAA tournament. Monmouth, their 2 losses this year came in true road games against quality teams in Syracuse and South Carolina. This group has been able to take care of business in their more manageable matchups thus far, and really showing some impressive things in their game the other day, getting a healthy win on the road to open conference play against Quinnipiac. Monmouth hasn't even really hit their stride so far. There's a lot more room for growth for this squad. Some of their top performers from last year haven't quite lived up to expectations early on, but we expect this group to only get better as the season progresses, and this group really is playing with a chip on their shoulder after how things ended for them last season. So we expect a lot out of the Hawks this year, and giving the 14.5 points, we feel like Monmouth is the better bet in this particular matchup. Alright guys, so that pretty much does it for the games that I wanted to talk about for Sunday's action. This is going to be for December 4th games. College football is pretty much wrapping up here with the conference title games that happened yesterday, and next week we're going to get the Army-Navy game. I'm probably going to make just a quick little video talking about that matchup, and then once bowl season comes around, I still haven't quite figured out how I'm going to be doing the video releases for that. I might do more of a daily thing where I talk about every bowl matchup for particular days instead of doing like a week-long video, or like just doing an entire video with talking about every bowl game, because that would take a really long time and that video would be ridiculously long. So I'm probably going to chop it up more into smaller videos, but still haven't exactly decided how I'm going to be formatting that. But definitely looking forward to seeing what kind of matchups we get in bowl season this year. And in college football, bowl season is always a really exciting time. So looking forward to that. Thanks for watching. And again, if you want, you can get more pick content over at stumpthespread.com. You can get there by either clicking this logo right here on desktop, or also link it in the description. And if you can thumbs up or subscribe, those really help out and it's very appreciated. If you subscribe, then you can get notifications for when I release these college basketball and college football pick videos in the future. So thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.